The clock ticked past 2:45 a.m., each click echoing in the hushed courtroom. Judge Morrison appeared tired, his shoulders slumping slightly beneath his robe. The atmosphere in the courtroom was heavy, with the weight of the trial evident. The air seemed thin, as though the room had been holding its breath for hours. The defendant sat straight, his face expressionless. Despite years of scrutiny, he remained composed. However, a flicker of something, perhaps apprehension or impatience, was visible in his eyes as he glanced at the empty witness stand. On the other side, the prosecution team huddled, whispering in hushed tones. Their faces, illuminated by the overhead lights, showed controlled anticipation. They had a burden of proof and a significant amount of evidence to present. In the gallery, journalists, legal observers, and citizens were present, drawn by a mixture of civic duty and curiosity. They were the audience to a significant legal proceeding unfolding in the courtroom. Tonight, the courtroom was set to hear testimonies recounting events from different perspectives. The prosecution decided to call for testimonies that could significantly impact their case. First to testify was Michael Cohen, a former associate of the president, now providing testimony with a mix of emotions. His testimony was anticipated to reveal significant details about the inner workings of the Trump Organization. Following Cohen was Alan Weisselberg, the former CFO of the Trump Organization, who had extensive experience in corporate finance. Weisselberg's testimony focused on financial documents, balance sheets, and corporate financial practices. Cohen, under the watchful eye of the judge and the jury, spoke with a measured calmness as he presented his testimony. He spoke of hush money, campaign finance violations, and actions taken by the accused during their time in office. His words were detailed and specific, each statement contributing to the overall case being presented. The defense team objected frequently, their protest echoing through the courtroom. The judge overruled most of the objections, his gavel coming down with a resounding thud. The tension in the room was noticeable, influenced by the fatigue, the high stakes, and the significance of the trial. Weisselberg, when his turn came, spoke in the dry, clipped tones of an accountant, his words carefully chosen, his demeanor cautious. He described a company that operated in a gray area, where lines were blurred, and rules were sometimes bent. He mentioned inflated valuations and dubious deductions, and a complex web of shell companies and offshore accounts designed to minimize tax liabilities and maximize profits. His testimony included details of business practices within the economic system, while others faced economic challenges. His testimony was less theatrical than Cohen's, but detailed. It provided the jury with insights into the financial inner workings of the Trump Organization, insights that prompted further questions. It was a glimpse into a world where money influenced decisions, where loyalty varied, and where the truth was subject to interpretation. As the clock edged closer to dawn, the 12 jurors continued their deliberations. Their faces showed signs of exhaustion and concentration. They had listened, taken notes, and examined the evidence. Their task was to reach a verdict based on the evidence presented. Their decision would have consequences for the defendant and the country. The decision could impact the future of American democracy and would be analyzed in the future. The judge reminded them of their duty to remain impartial and judge based on the evidence. His words echoed in the courtroom, emphasizing the importance of the proceedings. As the first rays of dawn pierced through the courtroom windows, casting long shadows across the faces, the stage was set for the final act of this legal proceeding. The jury filed out, their faces unreadable, their thoughts unknown. They carried with them the evidence, the testimonies, the arguments, and the future of the case. The courtroom, now bathed in the soft light of a new day, seemed to exhale, the tension that had gripped it for hours finally easing. The night of testimonies had come to an end, but its echoes would continue to be felt long after the verdict was read, long after the gavel came down for the final time. It had been a night for the history books, a night where arguments had been presented in the arena of justice, a night where the fate of a president was in question. And as the world outside woke up to a new day, the question remained, would justice be served?